All right, all you RYAO hooligans. We're out here running around like a bunch of fooligans. This is the RYAO Network Rockcast.
Woo!
Check out our little website at ryao.net. You can use the Contact Us page on our website to send us a message and say howdy, or ask a question, make suggestions, or let us know if you'd like to be on our email list so you can be the first to know about new podcast releases or special events. Our main social media is currently Facebook, where you can find us as ryao.net. And now you can find us also on Twitter as @RYAONET. And we thank all of the awesome RYAO hooligans who continue to like and follow us.
I'm tweeting.
We're here today to forget about politics, forget about viruses, and just crack open a beer and snuggle up to the warm, welcoming, leather-clad bosom of rock. With our good friends, Nick Sabat on sports.
Hey, everybody!
And Sticks Hooligan on weather.
Hey, all you scuzzes and skanks out there, how y'all doing today?
Okay, we always like to check and see what everybody is drinking. So, Nick, what is your social lubricant of choice today?
Today, guys, I have Stamich from Urban Chestnut Brewing Company out of St. Louis, Missouri. It's a fine German-style Pilsner, and it comes in a solid pint glass. You know, forget that 12-ounce bullshit. We're going for the 16 ounces. Sticks, what do you got?
That's a Stamich?
Stamich? Is that what I said? Stamich?
Yeah, Stamich.
You know what? Let me repronounce that. Stamtish.
Oh.
I'm going to spell it for you guys. Stammtisch. Stamtish.
Is that Hungarian?
It's pretty well hung, yeah.
Boom.
Thank you.
Is it hung? Is it a well? Okay.
Well hung. Come
Well
on
hung.
now.
It's got those black eagles on it, so that it feels European, but it's from St. Louis, Missouri.
European,
Urban.
that's a joke in itself.
European in your pants. Sticks, what you drinking today?
Man, the wordplay is hot tonight. I've got a beer here. I don't know if you guys have ever heard. It's coming from a new microbrew. This beer is called Incoming.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, what I like about this is a new marketing thing. This must be like for sexy people. They have a condom taped at the bottom of every can. I don't know if you can see this.
Wow, that's really innovative.
Yeah, when it's late at
It's
night.
just socially
you're stumbling
responsible
around.
right there. I like it.
It's even out of the wrapper, so you don't have to mess with the wrapper. It's just like literally like kind of glued on to the bottom, so you just kind of pop it off.
Is it
I was
still
going to say something about thinking outside the box, but then that really ties into the whole condom thing, and that was really...
Wordplay continues.
Yeah, it
I am
does.
not drinking that.
Nicely
I'm drinking
done.
a citywide. I'm drinking a citywide from my good
you.
buddies at Four Hands Brewing Co. It says Co on my bottle.
I'll be here all week.
Thank you. You're up next. I can't wait to see what puns you have for your drink. Come on, Kay.
Not a lot of puns here, just a nice cold Stone IPA from Stone Brewing. It is 6.9% of hoppy goodness. But I'll tell you, that one, the one I had last week seemed like it was almost a little bit hoppier than this one.
I was going to say, good for you for dialing it back a little bit, because you were up to 7.2 last week, so you dialed it back.
Yeah, the Arrogant Bastard beer from last week, that took me a few days to come down off of that one. So,
yeah.
You are what you drink. I'm citywide, baby.
That's it's good stuff. Okay, so a couple loose ends here. We had been talking about who recorded the original version of Dancing in the Street. And I think you guys were throwing around some names. And
I was wrong.
I wanted to make sure we clarified that it was Martha Reeves and the Vandellas that did the original version.
That's what I thought. That is what I thought.
Crystals.
That was on the tip of my tongue last week.
Yeah, I heard you. I heard you mouth Martha Reeves and then I just.
It was either that or
I'm
the
sorry.
Foo Fighters, one of the two.
Martha Reeves and the Foo Fighters.
Right. Definitely in the ballpark, though.
Yeah, close enough.
And since no one's in the ballparks really right now, that doesn't really matter.
Hey-o.
Our apologies to the Van Pillas out there.
Well, just when I looked at it, I thought, well, maybe we should make that clear. Also, if you have not seen our Spotify playlist from last week, Mitch Malloy, who we were talking about, I think has some really good tunes on there, and I was enjoying me some Mitch Malloy. And if there's one thing about this program, it's really making me look at some different music and notice that there's a big wide world of music out there.
You know, as I was touching on some of his songs, listening to his voice, I think there was a good connection there with the Van Halen boys and Michael Anthony. I think that style of singing would have gone pretty well. Perhaps opportunity missed for old Mitch.
Yeah. No, he has really, really good voice, really strong voice. Liked it. So, you know, I'm always trying to go the extra mile for you guys. And I wanted to take a minute or two to check up today on rocker health. One of the topics that we touch upon in the school of RYAO, our school of rock your ass off, I guess is what we call it. On the last show, we had been talking about nipples, and some questions bubbled up. Are you eating chips over there?
Yeah, what is that noise?
What's going on?
Who? Where? For who?
There's something rubbing somewhere. I'm being as still as can be. What the hell is going on?
Was it when the word nipples came up? Was that?
I think
what
he's
happened?
trying to get our attention with a nipple rub.
That's ridiculous. I don't know what you're talking about. What about nipples? We covered all the nipple talk we could last week. We answered all the questions. What else is there?
We're gonna have to start this whole damn show over.
You're gonna need to throttle those nipples back a little bit.
I'll put my shirt back on. All right.
Well, anyway, so yes, you're right. We were talking some nipple stuff. We were trying to answer some questions. Nipples are a huge and poignant component of the rock landscape, as you know, and we're always on the lookout for them. And when we find them, they never let us down.
Always on the lookout.
This is touching tribute
To nipples, yes.
to nipples.
So I jumped on Google and did some calling around and
Cheers
found
to nipples.
someone willing to sit down.
Woo!
Found somebody willing to sit down and answer some questions. Dr. Robert Joseph from the Minneapolis Plastic Surgery Associates.
Bobby Joe?
No,
Oh,
we
BJ?
call him Dr. Joe.
Dr.
So-
Bobby Joe.
Here's a little clip from the interview that I started out with him.
Alrighty.
Okay, Dr. Joe, we had some questions about nipples that came up in our last recording. And the first thing is, what I've always wanted to know is there a specialty that focuses on nipples? Like, is there some such thing as an areology or areologist or nippleologist or something like that?
No, there's not a specific specialty for nipples, although your gynecologist would probably be your closest profession for that, especially the ones that are still delivering babies.
Wow.
That would probably be your go-to.
So as a guy, if I have nipple issues that I want to have checked out, I will go to a gynecologist.
Apparently that would be the one you'd want to go
Okay.
to.
Life's hard.
Okay. And now we go on. So I don't know if you listened to our show, the RYAO Rockcast. It's pretty popular. Anyway, the guys Nick and Sticks had been curious whether nipples were sort of like, well, do nipples have fingerprints? So, like, could they be used in forensics? Let's say you've got a shirtless dude and he kills someone and then, leans on his car and leaves nipple prints. Is this a unique kind of marker for a person, or is this just not cross over into nipple territory?
Yeah, that's a great question. As far as I know right now, nobody's doing forensics on nipple prints. Now, leaning on a car and leaving trace DNA behind might work, but the actual print itself is, at this point, not being studied for identification purposes.
So there you go.
Yeah, see, I'm not going to take much issue with Dr. Bobby Joe, but I've seen enough CSI to see when they book suspects, they get the fingerprints and they do the two nipples.
Yeah.
So how does he say that there's no forensics tied into that? Because I see it every episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's for a different interview.
Yeah, nipples on the ink pad. I've seen that a lot.
I was going to say, do they have like an ink blotter for nipples that's separate from fingerprints? I think so. And then when you get the mugshot, the person standing shirtless with ink all over their nipples.
Exactly. So spice it up, doctor. Come on.
Okay, moving on. Here we go. Another thing we were talking about was that's really big in the rocker health territory is nipple protrusion, especially when it comes to rock T-shirts and things like that. Can you explain just very briefly some things that we should be watching out in the way of nipple protrusion? Just some basics.
Well, it's different in every person, of course. Some people's protrude more than others, and I'm, other than maybe a piercing, not really sure if there's a way to change that necessarily. But yeah, it's definitely a indicator of how the person's feeling at the time.
So it's not just temperature related.
No, I wouldn't think so. Not always.
So would a rocker expect to have, if you're having a good time and your nipples are hard, are you, is this a positive thing, or should you be, sort of keeping an eye on somebody? Just in general.
Yeah, probably more of a relation to their activity level at that time, and stimulation would probably be the biggest indicator.
Nice. Okay. Stunning answers, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think, guys, it's really heavy stuff. If you're wanting to get a better tune with people's feelings, you just really can't overlook their nipples. And also one of your top gauges for a person's state of stimulation, which is huge in rock and roll,
For sure, yeah. I mean, it'll get you in trouble in the workplace, but hey.
It is what it is.
Where do you work?
At an undisclosed
location.
location.
And finally, here's the last part of that interview. And then the last thing I was going to ask you about is inverted nipples. What's the deal with that? Is it genetic? Brief explanation on what we should be watching out for with that.
Yeah, most likely genetic, and not really much you can do about that. Sometimes inhibits breastfeeding for ladies, but otherwise not a pathologic issue.
All right. Well, Dr. Joe, we appreciate you sitting down and talking with us a little bit about nipple health, and appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you in the future.
Great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate visiting with you guys on the show today.
Yeah.
Now I have a question. He says it might be genetics, but I tell you what, everybody out in RYAO land, including you guys,
Inverted or not,
hold your nose and breathe as hard as you can out. Like, try and pop your ears. Normally it pops your ears, it clears your ears. You will notice that your nipples will come from inverted to extroverted if you do it hard enough.
Permanently?
Really? That's.
Hold on, I'm gonna try it myself. Yeah, just the one did, but if I do it hard enough, the other one will.
So if you do the left nostril, then the right nipple will come out, or is it on the
yeah,
same
exactly.
side?
I was squeezing.
Like,
no, I was squeezing too hard on the one side.
So is it like your right brain controls your left side, your right nostril controls your left nipple?
Yeah, you got it. We should ask the doctor about that.
We should report back to Dr. Joe about that.
We've got our own little case study going here.
Yeah.
Yeah, write into us on Twitter, Instagram, Pornhub, whatever you guys want to write us into and tell us how that worked.
I think we need to get a hold of Mayo Clinic and report this finding.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I learned about it.
Definitely some kind of photo montage of some kind.
Boing.
Okay, so there you go. Inverted nipples. Nothing to be afraid of. And if anything, Inverted nipples should be embraced and nurtured. So you guys ask the questions. I get them answered. Thank you, Dr. Joe. That's Rocker Health for today.
Thanks,
Let's
Doc.
go to a break.
What?
We'll be right back.
Hey, hooligans. You know, we create a Spotify playlist for each of our episodes. You can check that out and create an account for yourself at Spotify, and it's free. You can also get a premium edition of Spotify for a small fee per month. And check out all our music. Support the musicians that make the music that we talk about.
This is Styx Hooligan. You're listening to the RYAO Network Rockcast.
All right. We're back from that. And Nick, let's do a little bit of Urban Dictionary. Here's a little bit of music for you.
Yeah, it's a nice little jingle there for a continued episode of Schoolhouse Rock Your Ass Off. So for your word of the day, check out urbandictionary.com. You want to improve or maintain your street cred? That's where you go. That's where all the kids are going to get their vocabulary these days. So today's, this is not today's word of the day, but it is a word that is relevant with the situation that we're all going through with the COVID-19 situation. Have you guys heard about this on the news, this COVID-19 pandemic thing?
What is it, like a game or?
Well, no, it's this virus that's sweeping the world. But anyways, the word from Urban Dictionary today is mask hole. So let me spell it for you, just so you know, just so you understand. MASKHOLE. And mask hole means selfish idiots in your neighborhood who think that they don't need to wear a mask because the rest of us do. And so let me use it in a sentence for you, just to help with your understanding. Some mask hole jogged right past me in the park today. So hopefully that helps.
Perfect.
For your understanding. So mask hole, and we will conclude this segment of Schoolhouse Rock Your Ass Off.
The context clues really help me on those.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. And the kids get it. That's the way the kids get it faster. So when they're going to study off tonight for their projects for school,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, when they get back in class, don't be shocked if the students are calling each other mask holes, or the teacher says, "You little mask holes." I can't even get it out.
Okay.
I can't even get it. I'm cracking myself up here.
That's not hyphenated, is it?
It's one word,
right?
but it is a compound word, though. Mask and hole. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
It's one
Okay.
word.
Wow, that's great. I'm making a list of those here.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, thanks. It's relevant.
Okay, kids, go to bed now. Now it's time for the adults to talk.
So otherwise, I do have another topic that I wanted to bring up briefly. So a couple of days ago, on August 16th, was a milestone date that was in relation to the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. So August 16th marks the 43rd anniversary of his death. So officially, the king has been dead longer than he was alive. So he was born in January 1935 and died in August 16th, 1977. So just the thought that he's been dead longer than he's been alive, I thought that was pretty mind-blowing to me. So I wanted to share that with everybody.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Just some, I wouldn't say fun facts about Elvis's death because there's really nothing fun about it. But so yeah, he died at his home in Graceland on that day. The king was sitting on his throne, so to speak, off his bedroom, and his girlfriend at the time had found him at like 2:30 in the afternoon. He was sitting on the toilet, kind of bent over, and then when she kind of pushed him backwards, he actually let out a breath, and his eyes were still open, and they said that he was still slightly breathing. And of course, the ambulance was called. Panic ensued. The ambulance was called, and he was taken to the hospital, and then he was pronounced dead at 3:30.
And then
like an hour later,
Diamond Dave showed up.
Diamond Dave. It's a flashback from last week's show.
Hey, little E.
And
Did Elvis not lock his bathroom door?
that was probably the least of his concerns, Sticks, because the toxicology report from the autopsy, which was conducted by 3 physicians, showed that there were 15 different types of drugs and narcotics in his system. And he was probably consistently constipated, constantly in pain, and impacted with feces. I mean, let's just say it. And that was part of the reason why he was like so swollen.
I think he just did.
And so the odd thing about the physicians, as they were conducting the autopsy, one of the physicians left, and then they made the announcement that the king of rock and roll died of heart disease. The other 2 physicians found out after the fact, and they said, "Hey, wait a second, we didn't sign off on that." The toxicology reports came back weeks later, only to support the fact that did he die of a heart attack? But the contributing factors were the amount of drugs that he was taking. Supposedly he was hooked on drugs since the 60s. I didn't realize that it went back that far, but apparently Elvis was a very shy person. He needed uppers to perform, and then he needed downers to bring himself down. And so he was probably on these drugs like for 10 to 15 years before his death. And so the physician that came out to announce the heart disease thing, the word is that he was just trying to cover up for the king, and they didn't want everybody to know that he was on all these drugs. Mm-hmm. And Elvis also had a traveling physician that he named Dr. Nick, and Dr. Nick was someone who prescribed all these medicines to him, and that was, again, one of the contributing factors. So, you can kind of relate that story to even like Michael Jackson. He had this physician that was on call, and a lot of parallels there between Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley. So,
and Prince, right? Prince is the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah, Prince was apparently he had a lot of drugs going on too. I'm not sure if he had that traveling physician, but he probably had one individual person, I would imagine, that he could always count on. But anyways, when you think about Elvis Presley, can you really think about him growing older? And I can't. And it's one of those days, August 16th, 1977. People know where they were when Kennedy was assassinated, or Martin Luther King was assassinated, or the Twin Towers came down. One of my older brothers and I were talking this weekend about where we were when we heard on the radio that Elvis died. So we were a pretty big Elvis family that we followed the king quite a bit. So, anyways, just wanted to share that tidbit about the king, that he's been dead longer than he was alive.
Can I ask real quick, because as you spoke about in your early Rockcast episode, I hope you did. You saw Elvis in concert when you were a little bitty Nick, a little bitty Dr. Nick out there in the world. So
I did.
It couldn't have been that much longer between that concert you saw and when he died.
Yeah. So I believe I saw him in concert. It was either 74 or 75. And he wasn't in the condition that he was when, shortly before he passed away, where he was very inflated and compacted, like we've talked about. But no, he was looking sharp when we saw him in 74 or 75. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Well, that's a good memory.
Do you guys remember when Elvis died? You guys don't have the same memories?
Sure, absolutely.
You do?
Sure. Yeah. Sticks, where were you?
I was driving in my dad's Buick. The family went and got milkshakes at a place. It's not Dairy Queen. It's Dairy Queen now in town, the old town we all grew up in. It was whatever it was at the time. So I remember having
Frosty
milkshakes. Frosty Whip. And I remember drinking in the car, and my dad hit a bump or something, and the straw scraped the up part of my mouth, like toward the back of my mouth at the top. Ouch! I remember being really pissed off, and either we got home or we heard it on the radio pulling up to the house that he had died. And I was so fucking pissed off that straw had scraped my mouth that I
Pierced
said, I
your
don't
brain.
care. I think it did pierce my brain. I was like wrapped up in myself. So that's my first memory of hearing Elvis died. It was like I don't
Elvis
care.
died, and you're like, damn it, I got a broken spoon up in my
Yeah,
cranium.
Elvis died, but has he ever had a
um,
straw scrape the top of his mouth?
Yeah.
Fucking idiot. My life's worse than him. Kay, you would have been a little
Double
bitty
K, you
Kay
remember?
at the time too.
Double K, do you remember?
I just remember where I was standing when I learned about it, and I didn't understand why my aunts were so upset. I just remember being over at my aunt's house, my cousin's house, and my aunt was very upset because Elvis had died, and I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, oh, okay, well, let's play with some Star Wars toys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be the only freak that recalled the moment when I heard that Elvis died. So appreciate you guys sharing that.
Hell no.
That's all I got.
No.
Who's got Sticks? Are you up?
Let's take a little break here, Sticks, and we'll come back here in a second.
Hey, hooligans. You're driving around all over the place. The perfect time to flip on the RYAO Rockcast. But then you start to panic. You feel lost. You feel alone. You're thinking, I'm so busy. How am I going to know when the new RYAO Rockcast is released? How am I going to know about RYAO special events? Just get on our email list. Go to the Contact Us page at ryao.net and send a message. Or send a quick email to elist, that's ELIST, at ryao.net. And let us know you'd like to be on our email list.
All right, shut the fuck up.
Sorry.
We were paying
The hell was that? We've been doing that for 5 minutes during break.
homage to the king.
I know. We were all like in our own little sphere. It was creepy.
It's so hard not to.
I know. Everybody's got a little Elvis
I'm
in
gonna
them.
scratch
Elvis
some
is
Moody Blue
everywhere.
after this Rockcast.
That's right. Hey, we haven't mentioned our Spotify playlist very much, but people need to check out all the music that we talk about on this show. Goes on where, Kay? Oh, sorry, you just took a drink. God damn it. I'm sorry.
Oh, Spotify playlist. It's we make one for every show.
This is number 6.
It'll have stuff on it that we have in the show, and plus some little extras here and there, just to make it interesting. So check it out. After every Rockcast, we have a Spotify playlist.
Can we put Mojo Nixon, Elvis is Everywhere? Can we look for that? Can we add that to the playlist?
Oh, an emoji of Elvis?
No, not an emoji. No, Mojo Nixon from the 80s. It's an 80s song about, it's called Elvis is Everywhere. We'll add it to the playlist. Don't worry.
Yeah,
about it.
sure.
I've never heard
sure.
that. I'm intrigued.
Oh, you'd love it. All right,
Yeah.
Here we go. So, real quick, I just want to add something. I've been going around. These are the COVID days. Have you heard about the COVID, you guys? I just heard about it 2 minutes ago.
A little bit.
What?
Yeah, apparently it's a thing. It's a very, very trendy, popular thing because everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I've been staying at home and going through. I've been looking at. I found a box of old home movies. I found letters. I found photos. I found all kinds of nostalgia shit. And during kind of crazy times like these, nostalgia is not the worst way to spend your time. So, normally I talk music, but fuck that this week. For some reason, I was looking up a board game that I had as a kid, and I found a site called BoardGameGeek.com, all one word. It's got every fucking board game you've ever thought of, owned, played, dreamed about, whatever. And I had a ball the other night. I was like tense about something, not a work thing, but a family thing was going on, and I had, just some general tension. And we don't like tension here in RYAO land. We like to get rid of the tension by drinking and by sounding like Elvis.
Right. In a healthy
And
way.
by playing with our nipples.
Productive.
Yeah, talking about health things. That's right. But even that sometimes doesn't get you through the night. Sometimes you're still laying in bed going, ooh, man. So anyway, so for some reason, I just realized like how important board games were when I was a kid. And I don't know if it was the same way with you guys. And I'm not talking about Monopoly and Scrabble and the shit you can buy at Target today or Walmart and shit. Just the games that have been around forever. But stupid, like Planet of the Apes and Bigfoot and games that were like of the moment. And I don't know that it ever like survived past the 80s really very well. I mean, there are a ton of board games coming out every year and they're like, but they look like kick-ass board games.
Yeah.
Like
how many did you buy?
A lot of
Were
rules.
they for sale? And how many did you buy?
All of them.
You bought 10 of them, didn't
So
you?
here's the thing. Bought 10 of
10
what?
board games. When you saw them on the website.
When I was it was because you can go find out how to buy all your old childhood shit. But since I own, I'm staring at half of them as I speak. Pac-Man.
Oh, you didn't need to buy them because you've already got them.
I've got them. I've got a Kiss on Tour game, board game.
I mean, we're all
Oh my
into
God.
nostalgia, but Styx in particular is very nostalgic for sure.
I was drowning in it. I don't like we talk about the Spotify playlist. You got to explore. You got to expand your circle. You got to learn new music. You got to but every once in a while, you just need to fall back to the past and say things were okay.
Yeah.
Things are gonna be okay. But to get me to that point, so was this just me? And I just realized how many board games I had as a kid. I don't know where my mom and dad found the money because we were not rich. But we had a ton of them.
Yeah.
Did you guys have like board games? Like,
Oh yeah,
We did.
Yeah.
And we got them for birthdays and
Like, what do
Christmas.
you remember?
We just didn't get them because we got them for certain milestone things. And whenever people talk about board games of the past, the one for me that always comes to top of mind is Emergency, based on the Emergency show. So the fire trucks.
oh fuck,
A
man.
board
Yeah,
game?
it was the Emergency board
That's
game.
awesome.
Yeah. And we had the classics like Monopoly and Life. Another one that we really got into was Stratego.
Stratego,
And it was kind of
yeah.
like chess, but it really wasn't. Chess for dummies, maybe.
Hey,
But
stupid.
Emergency
Hey, stupid.
is-
We're getting Stratego.
Emergency is one that comes to top of mind, and it's interesting your reactions to Emergency because that's a similar reaction that I get from most people. Like, Emergency? That was a board game, but indeed it was.
Well,
and
I
we
had
played
like
the shit out of it.
Oh wow, no, what was the point of it? Did you just have different little scenarios going around the board,
you
or
drew cards and then you rolled the dice, and then your fire truck had to get to that location within a certain amount of time, and then you get that many points that was on the card. And
Oh, I would have killed to have that one. No, I had I had a lunchbox. I think my brother had a emergency lunchbox, and then I had the truck.
Uh-huh.
But no game. If I would have known there was a game, I would have been all over that shit.
See, this brings up so many other topics, just like TV shows, toys, and I won't go too far into this, but just my son's birthday is coming up, and they're bringing back Evel Knievel toys. And you remember Evel Knievel on the
Oh, no,
on
of
the
course.
motorcycle? And there's no batteries or anything, but you put them on this ramp and you hand crank it, and then it gets to a certain speed, and then it takes off. That was the best fucking toy ever. And they just came out with this thing, and I was like, my son's never heard of Evel Knievel, but he will. He's
Of
going
course.
to. So yeah, that's coming up for his birthday. But yeah, there's so many other topics that we could spin off on this.
He jumped
Yeah.
Snake Canyon. No shit. What's Snake Canyon? I don't know. But he jumped it. Fuck.
Yeah, that's some wild shit there. I mean, jumping a canyon, that's nuts.
Now, Kay, did you have because my fascination kind of with games is that stuff, like the TV, like I had Mork and Mindy. The game sucked, but it was Mork and Mindy, so I felt like I'm
A
watching
Mork
the
and
show
Mindy
every
game?
week.
You guys are blowing my
I've never
fucking
seen the Mork
mind
and
here.
Yeah. But it's like the stuff I watch. You watch it every week, and then like I'm playing the game on the off nights, so it's kind of like you were tied in somehow. So, Kay, did you have shit like that?
You know, like a Mork and Mindy game, or
No, I mean just like games like Emergency, Mork and Mindy, like stuff of the moment.
yeah.
Or was
We
it
had
you guys' yeah.
Monopoly, Life. Well, we had a lot of the ones we had ones where we could make electronic projects on, and
Like
Clue
fucking around.
was a big one.
Clue was hard. I never understood
yeah.
Clue. I always fucked around with it, and I just figured I felt like everybody else knew what was going on, and I didn't.
Yeah.
So
Hey, did you guys ever have a game? Did you have games that you guys? It just didn't really. No one. I don't know how to say that. It's kind of like the redheaded stepchild of your game
I don't
collection.
think you can say that. I don't think you can say that.
You're like
offensive.
well,
Back down.
it's not like posse or something like that.
Oh Jesus!
I don't
Here
think
we
you
go.
can say that word.
WAP.
It's gonna be a lot of editing.
I found out what WAP stands for, by the way. I'm not going to repeat it. Anyways,
Yeah, now you know why I didn't want to say it.
even though we have an explicit rating, I still feel uncomfortable repeating it.
Yeah, it's really, really raw. Did you guys get a chance then to see the video and the? It looked like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Only a couple hundred times.
I bought the Cardi B board game, and it is pretty. It's pretty involved.
It's pretty messy.
Yeah, it's hard to
Put
win.
down some Visqueen or something in the living room before you put that one down. There's a lot of fluid on that one flying around. It's like a wet and wild.
Comes with it.
Like an indoor thing.
STD test kit, I believe.
Yeah, the Cardi B slip and slide.
I forgot what I was just. What was I just talking about?
Sorry, you were talking about more the like clues. I interrupted your clue stuff.
Oh
but,
no! Did you ever have a game that you guys got and like your siblings and you just all had the same attitude towards it? Like you're just like it just didn't ring your bell at all, and you're just like I don't want to. It just we had some games that just never got touched because it just wasn't interesting to us.
Sure.
I can't name any right now, but there was one we had this. It was these. It was like Hawaiian checkers or something. Never got touched, but we would play with the rocks in it all the time. But we would just never play the game.
Why was
it just didn't make any
checkers?
sense.
I would say
Why would you have
for
rocks?
us,
Just get
it was
checkers.
Scrabble, and I guess for a kid, Scrabble is too hard. But when you had the chance to spell out fart, you were living life. That was it.
You could do that and then just take a break for the rest of the day.
You win. First one to spell fart wins.
I won.
That's so awesome. Let's go take a break. Let's get some cookies.
So, Sticks, you said there was a Kiss board game? I mean, I'm sure there was.
Oh,
but
sure.
What was the premise behind that game?
It's just like every other like the emergency thing. You just rolled dice and moved around the board. I mean, there was no brain power. There's no skill to it. You're picking. I land on a card. I land on a card space. I get to read the card. Like, well, great. Can you fucking
What were
read
you
it?
trying to
Yeah.
get to? Like, what was the golden nugget at the end of the game?
Oh, you were trying to tour as many cities around the world. So, of course, St. Louis wasn't on there. I grew up close to St. Louis, and that didn't make the cut. But Chicago was on there. So I thought that was
So
all
a
right.
maximum of 4
So you're trying to
players, and it was the guys in Kiss. I mean, you chose to be the demon or the Star Child or what?
No, that's a stupid thing. They were just those little nub pieces, like the standard 4 color, like the round head and the flat base. Like they missed an
Lame.
opportunity.
Totally.
there, but,
We got to remake this Kiss board game. Jeez.
I've got it. You come on over. I'll bring it to the RYAO studios next week because I've still got it up on the shelf. But
You know what we should do is, did you ever see the movie The Bodyguard? And he goes to that cabin in the middle of that movie with Whitney Houston to keep her safe. And then his dad and him have this running chess game. So every time he comes to the cabin and his dad and them are there, they start the game up, and then when they're gone, then they're not playing it. And then when they come back, they resume the game, and it's been going on for years. So I think maybe we should do that with your Kiss game, where we just every time we have a Rockcast, we all roll
the
and,
dice?
Yeah, do a move and then leave it for the next time.
I like it.
that's not a bad thing because I have a My Bodyguard board game and it sucks. Because Because the object is to get Whitney Houston in the bathtub, and it's not a very good.
It doesn't. It can end well.
Yeah, and cut.
So, Kay, play us out, why don't you?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Sorry.
Everybody, please, I implore you,
Please.
check out our website, ryao.net.
Are we done already?
Give us some feedback. Tell us about some stuff you'd like us to talk about. As if we haven't talked about everything
I guess
today.
we're done.
We can keep talking. Kay can just keep talking. We can keep talking. Keep it going.
Post on our Facebook page. You guys have been doing that. A lot of posting, a lot of likes going on Facebook. Very cool.
You love us.
You can always find us at ryao.net on Facebook and follow us on Twitter as @RYAONET. And we'll be adding some more social media pretty soon. But anyway, for right now, thanks for joining us. See you next week. Go blow yourselves and never stop rocking.
Hooligans.